Becky, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm Becky Free. I'm the Director of Membership and Communications for the Pinelands Preservation Alliance. And we have always had a rolling membership program, so I'm looking forward to learning more and seeing what we can do better.
John Carno.
Yeah, hi, I'm John Carno. For 15 years, I was in charge of membership and fundraising at New Jersey Audubon Society. And I was also on the board of the Musconetcong Watershed Association for a little while. Now I'm a major gifts person at the Salvation Army, but I thought that it would be good. Maybe I could share some insights with you guys about membership. It'll be interesting. So thank you.
Thank you. Samantha Davis.
Hey, I am Samantha Davis. I am the development specialist at Hunterdon Land Trust.
Welcome. Caitlin.
Howdy, I am the Director of Development over at the Lake Patron Foundation. We moved away from membership and we are exploring moving back. So you guys have kept me sane through that process. I appreciate you all meeting here today.
Chrissy Larson.
Hi, Chrissy Larson, events with New Jersey Highlands Coalition, working with Lauren.
Donna.
Hi, I'm Donna McKelly-Holly, Grant and Program Director with the Lake Patron Foundation, joining Caitlin because I'm really interested in this topic.
Thank you. Wade.
Hi, everybody. I'm Wade Kirby, the Director of Development for the Great Swamp Watershed Association.
Lisa Wolf.
Hi, I'm Lisa Wolf. I'm the Executive Director of Friends of Hopewell Valley Open Space.
Fran.
Hi, I'm Fran Bartlett. I'm on the Sauerland Conservancy Board and with Joanna, very interested in learning more about membership and developing that.
Welcome. Heidi.
Hi, I'm Heidi Roldan. I'm with New Jersey Conservation Foundation and really excited to get down to membership versus donor. We always struggle to go back and forth with this.
Good to see you, Heidi. Thomas.
Everybody, Tom Stokes, Director of Development, New Jersey Audubon, John's former area. I joined in today because we basically have two membership programs. One is annual and one is monthly in rolling basis. So I was just intrigued by the topic and looking to learn and see what I can take out of today. So thank you.
Welcome, Thomas. Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Cleveland. I'm the Executive Director of the Sauerland Conservancy, and I've dragged two of my board members in on this meeting so that we can really get down to the nuts and bolts of what we're doing versus what we could be doing in order to retain and engage new members.
Welcome. And go for it if you want to go, Karen.
Oh, sorry, my computer is really slow. Karen Dorfer, Communications Coordinator for the Musconetcong Watershed Association, and having internet issues apparently.
Welcome. Wish you lots of luck. Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Crofts, Development Associate at the Watershed Institute, and I work with Jenny, who's also on this call, and we think a lot about members.
Perfect introduction, Jenny.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jenny Kirshner. I'm Director of Development at the Watershed Institute, and we have been struggling with this membership versus donor issue for many, many years. We are a membership-based organization, so I'm really very interested in this topic. Thank you.
Erica Kolacci.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Kolacci. I'm the Development Manager at the New Jersey Conservation Foundation. I'm here with my colleague Heidi today.
Lyle Landon.
Hi, I'm Lyle Landon. I'm with ANJAC, the Association of New Jersey Environmental Commissions, and we too are a membership organization. We have corporate members, we have environmental commissions as members, and we always flirt with having individual members. So I'm very interested in seeing all the permutations everyone shares.
Welcome. Allie.
Hi, I'm Allie Thelema. I'm with Teaneck Creek Conservancy. I'm their Conservancy Associate. And actually, this was the first year that we made the real split between having everyone be labeled as members to having a separation between members and donors.
Welcome. Karen Hollywood.
Hi, everybody. Karen Hollywood, Development Director for Corporate and Foundation Engagement at Grounds for Sculpture. We have regular old guests and we have individual members and corporate members, which is more my side of the shop. And so we're always looking at that transition from guest to member to donor, which I'm sure you all are too.
Welcome. Lisa Kelly.
Hi, Lisa Kelly. I'm with the Food Shed Alliance. I do development and communications. And we've always toyed with the idea of a membership program, but never really got it off the ground. So I'm looking for some great ideas.
Ashley Adams.
Hello, how is everyone? I'm from the Raptor Trust, the Director of Development there. We don't have a membership program, but we did just launch a monthly giving program for recurring donors, and just kind of looking to get some ideas from this. I know not everything's going to be relevant, but yeah, looking forward to hearing everything you have to say.
Ridge and Valley Conservancy.
Hi, I'm Susie Tilley and I'm with Ridge and Valley Conservancy. I'm the executive director, and I cannot wait to find out how everyone else struggles with this division between membership and donors, because we struggle on and off with it as well.
Welcome. All right, I'm going to let Cause and Effect Incorporated introduce themselves however they'd like.
I'll start. My name is Alex Howard. I'm a consultant here at Cause and Effect up in Rhode Island. I've been a consultant, I think, now for 7 years. And before that, I was generally one-person development shops around at various organizations. Worked in institutions like colleges and libraries. I've worked in direct service organizations, and since becoming a consultant, I've worked for a variety of different causes over these past 7 years, from everything from policy shops to refugee organizations. So I'm excited. My colleagues are John Howard and Gayle Gifford.
Anything now, I'll have to talk after 3 o'clock.
Hi, I'm John. Nice to meet you all and great to be here. I'm been with Cause and Effect for many decades, but before that did nonprofit staff work on an international organization. And early in my consulting career, I did a lot of direct mail writing for Connecticut Fund for the Environment and Save the Sound there. So on their membership program. So that's a lot of acquaintance with this dilemma that you guys are facing.
And I'm Gayle Gifford, consultant with Cause and Effect. And Lauren is the person who connected with me to get us in. I'm kind of hanging out today just to gather up your thoughts and ideas. And Alex, so John will be driving this, but just a little on my background in that besides the many years spent in as a consultant, I spent 15 years as a director of development and marketing, including a 5-year stint with Save the Bay up here in Rhode Island. So just have been in your seats as well as on the outside. All right.
All right. Okay, so I'm going to have John just monitor the questions. For questions, I'd ask that you hold them or just type them into chat. And John will interrupt me if it becomes if something relevant comes up. Sorry about that. Everyone can see my slideshow all right?
We're getting like
Yes.
a preview.
Oh, okay.
Kind of flashing, mine's flashing, yeah.
All right, well, that'll be all right. Okay. I'm sorry, so I will actually.
I just lost it.
No, we're looking at something else.
There we go, okay.
Nope, not.
Yeah, all right, we'll stick in this anyhow. So
We've all been there, Alex. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We feel you.
yeah. All right, can we see the editing version of PowerPoint right now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right, let's stick with that then. Actually, let me, yeah, okay. Okay, so the first thing I think that it's important to do before you think about, you know, what the nuts and bolts implementation of membership is what are you trying, who are you trying to build, right? Well, what's your ideal of membership? What should your maximized, most realized member look like? And what would they provide for the organization? What characteristics would they themselves have? This isn't, you know, I don't have a set formula. I've just kicked a few adjectives I thought would be good. Would like more engaged members. I would like them to be members for their entire lives. What ideal of membership do you hold, or does your organization hold? And just shout out some them as they come, and I'll type them here.
A good ambassador for your organization?
Ambassador, great. You can try thinking about your best members, maybe. The members you most appreciate getting a call
People
from.
who volunteer, maybe?
Volunteer, yeah.
Generous.
Right, yeah, generous.
A contributor with ideas and vision.
Great.
Recurring.
Yep.
Wealthy.
Well, I'm gonna massage that a bit. I'm gonna say
Maybe well connected in the community.
Able to give a meaningful gift. Well connected, great. Anything else?
Passionate about your mission.
Any last thoughts here for what an ideal member might look like? That's all right. So, you know, this is essentially your goal, right? So membership shouldn't simply just be a fundraising tactic. You're trying to achieve something with it. And in this case, it's to build your ideal member. So, you know, not all of these are, I mean, I think most of these are pretty good, strong things that anyone would appreciate. But, you know, your ideal member will probably include very specific things for your organization. You know, if you're more involved in advocacy, you probably want them to regularly sign petitions, right? If you're a museum or an institution, you probably want them to come to the museum every once in a while and use it and give you feedback on it. So before you make any significant changes to your membership program or implement a membership program, I would encourage you to think about what you're trying to achieve with membership. And from there, then you can start to plan how you're going to get there and what you're going to do to get there. Lauren, will you start the poll?
Here we go. Can everybody see the poll?
If this works.
I see people participating.
We can keep it, close it whenever you think we've got enough responses.
So it looks like we're going with development director and executive director being the top. Then we have 2 to 3 staff members, followed by 5+ staff members, followed by executive director only.
Great. Great. Okay. So the reason I asked that question is because one of the first things I would do for any development program, but I think it's particularly relevant to membership, which requires so much administration and thought and strategy and organization behind it. What is your capacity to implement it, right? So the first question I would ask, and this is a program test I've come up with, does doing this activity, whatever it is, strengthen the donor's relationship with the organization in a meaningful way? And what meaningful means can be very subjective. It can be subjective to the donor. It can be subjective to the organization. But I would encourage you to think about the stewardship side of things here. How are you making sure that the donor is deepening their relationship with you? Second one, do we have the capacity to do it this year and next year in such a way that the answer to question 1 is always yes? So don't just think about in the short term, oh, we can throw this on the development director, we'll throw this on the manager, if you can't keep it going, because donors and members will see that the quality drops off, the program changes, even if the structure of the program hasn't changed, the particulars of the program will change. So I really encourage you to think about your capacity and implement any program, but particularly development, in a sustainable way for the organization.
Hey, Alex, can I jump in?
Ideally.
Alex,
yep.
Can I jump in just for a minute? Something's up with PowerPoint in that the screen is flashing back and forth to lots of different things. So
okay.
I'm wondering if John can load it on his machine and see if that stops that from happening.
Oh.
Sorry, everyone, but
yeah.
I think if you were getting flashing, I know that's pretty. Must be something up with the.
All right, Alex, I'll just try it and see if it works, okay? And you just
sure.
let me know to advance.
Yep.
How's that?
Not sharing, John.
Huh. Shoot.
Okay. That's
or maybe.
No.
Maybe just closing some of the other windows.
Yeah, I don't know. There you go. Okay, there we got it. All right, there we go.
All right, so now it should be full screen or not?
Yes, got it.
Okay.
Looking good.
Oh, good. Yep.
All right. Where are we?
We're here. We're gonna move to the next slide. Oh, one thing I do want to jump in on, that test is not concerned with ROI or efficiency of how you're assigning your resources, right? Those are are concerns that you need to have internally, of course, right? Is this the best way we can spend our development dollars? But I would say that test there is just to make sure that you can always do the program, right? In an ideal situation, you would carry membership on forever in theory. All right, recruiting members. So you've got some questions here as well. You have to know who your constituency for membership is, right? Why they join as members, what they get out of membership, what they like about it. Similarly, you have to figure out what the role of members is going to be in your organization. And know what you're asking them to do, whether it's going to be activist based, whether you're going to ask them to access the organization, say use the land trust holdings, enter the museum, those types of things. or whether you're asking for governance membership, right? If you're a more collective organization. We go to the next slide.
Alex, we've got a question here about the difference or perceived difference between member versus donor. Do you want to address that?
Yeah. So yes. So this kind of goes back to the ideal, what your ideal of membership is. You're trying to, sorry, let me back up. I would say that this is a choice. You have to think about what your capacity is. If you're going to focus on membership, you need that capacity to have members and have donors separately. And it's kind of the only way I see it can be done. Not everyone is going to want to be a member, and treating them as a member, including them in member-specific communications, including them, calling them members in emails or direct mail, is going to alienate those people. It just happened to me from my college, is that they moved me from a monthly donor into a membership of a group, and it kind of annoys me because my gift was intended to be restricted, and the purpose of the membership group is a completely different thing than what I was giving for. So you have to keep that in mind. At the same time, if you've got a donor and you want to keep that donor, you have to remember you need resources to devote to stewarding them, to upgrading them, to cultivating them. And so you have to decide how you're going to do that and how much focus you're going to do. Because if you're not going to accept if you're not going to focus on retaining every gift, you're probably going to hear from donors that they're having a fairly bad experience. So the other thing about membership, I think, is that people carry their own perception of it in, right? Regardless of how you define membership, people have an idea of what membership is. Similar to board membership, where we've been on a different board, so we know what being a board member looks like, but not necessarily what being a board member for your organization looks like. And I think that those biases come in when you establish a member. We take our own thoughts, whether it's museums or libraries, right, are kind of the two classic membership-based organizations. And you have to start dispelling that. So if people don't want to be members, if they think membership is going to get, a lot of communications that they don't care about, right, they don't want to be invited to a bunch of events, and then maybe they don't want to join up as a member. They just want to be a donor. Some people
wanted to add
yep.
That, if you want to just look at it as a fundraising, or are members just there to provide resources, then it's a strategy to enhance retention and affiliation, and perhaps to define ways for them to upgrade. If, as for probably for many of you, members are an important part of your advocacy, maybe just having a lot of members as a number is an important thing in your advocacy. So there's really not a hard and fast difference between donors and members unless you define what that is for your organization.
And I just wanted to add one other thing back to what Alex said earlier, is that in a number of organizations, your members are actually governors. They have a governing function in the organization. It's written in your bylaws that you're a membership organization, and that those members are going to vote for the board of directors, or they're going to vote for bylaws changes, or in some organizations, even for policy. So if you have governing members, you want those to be folks who really support the aspects of your organization, right? In addition to the dues that they pay or whatever you have them do. And you may have people who are donors who don't want that, right? Or you don't want them to have that role in the organization too. So you really have to think at the core, is this a fundraising and affiliation process, or is it a governing role in members that also has a funding component to it. So just an important thing to keep in the back of your head.
I just saw a question about benefits jump up, and donors being opted out. I'll say there, some people find receiving something for making a donation a little, offensive, not what they're looking for. They just want to make a contribution. You have to be kind of loose with that, right? They may expect to be charged for access, unlike a normal member. They may expect the opposite. Those are going to be really specific cases that you're going to have to watch out for and have a plan for. So let me see. I want to move on to the next slide. One of the ways I would encourage you to figure it out is to ask. Members will tell you what they want. They will tell you what they think of your membership, how they view it, what ideally you would get out of it. They can tell you why they're not members, right? Donors can tell you why they have no intention of becoming members to your organization. And I encourage you to do this regularly. I encourage you not to necessarily think of it as like we have to send out a survey monkey and get a X percentage response back, and then we'll make our decision from there. I would encourage you to pick 25 people and start making calls, and ask for them for 20 minutes, either at that moment or in the next couple of weeks, and sit down with maybe 4 or 5 questions, really important open-ended questions about membership, and find out what they want and what they think of membership. It's going to be both a valuable tool for you. It's also going to be an incredibly powerful stewardship moment for them. It's also something you can use on your board and have your board perform. If you can find some volunteers, it tends to be a way to ease them into a more active role in development, because it's really strict stewardship, right? You're just making calls, you're talking about their feelings, you're actually being very clear in all communications that you will never be asking them for a donation at this period. We do a lot of different versions of this call for our clients. We tend to find that every once in a while, someone will make a donation, regardless of the fact that we never solicited a donation from them. So it can also be a way to sometimes generate some funds, but I wouldn't necessarily rely on that. Just that you will find that people feel more engaged and supported by the organization simply by asking them what they think, not actually doing anything for them, but just getting that feedback back, and talking to a live person from your organization. Yeah, I would also encourage you to figure out what you're up against in membership, what they're thinking about membership, and what myths they're holding about how your membership looks, right? Yeah, next slide, please. Thinking about your membership benefits really falls a lot into model. And I would encourage you not to get too bogged into membership as a box. I think where we tend to get stuck with membership is we think of it as a very exclusive way of putting donors. It shouldn't be. You need to think about being very flexible. You need to think about inclusivity whenever you do membership, and making sure that you're not using it to create a strict wall or a way that forces you to be really terse and strict with your donors. I read about a case where a guy made his entire development department never say the word no. They were allowed to communicate the concept of no. They were never allowed to say the word no when talking to members. And he found a lot of really positive feedback and conversations started to happen when that happened. Can I have the next slide? Oh, actually, can we drop out of the screen share?
I think. You'd think. End the show.
Okay, I'm gonna share some screen. I just want to walk through a few different models of membership. Is this coming through?
What are you showing?
The ACLU screen. Can everyone see that?
No.
Boy.
All right, I gotta stop sharing. You share. Okay, sorry, that was my fault.
Oh. Okay, everyone see that? Okay, so there are a lot of different models. What you're going to find is there's no particularly right model for that you can create a formula for and slot in. The ACLU has a one-size-fits-all model, right? Regardless of how much you give to the ACLU, you are a member, period. You also don't get a huge ton of benefits for being the ACLU. You actually get very intangible benefits, right? What you do is help the ACLU. One thing I will say, regardless of what you set it as, and another key piece to keep in mind, this other isn't set. I can put in $1 if I want, and I will become a member of the ACLU. Oh, well, $5, I guess, probably for payment processing. So there we go. So my minimum contribution to the ACLU to become a member is actually $5, not $20. And that's important. Whatever you tell members your minimum is, that's the minimum number they will think about how much your organization is worth. And in some cases, you want it to be low. If you want lots of members, you want it to be a relatively low bar into entry. In other cases, if you're trying to increase the amount that members give, you may want to put it up higher. Or if your benefits cost you a fair amount, you need to cover that. So it has to be up a little bit higher than that. Let's see if I can get to, I keep some tabs here. There we go. Another form of membership is for what's called electronic. So this is the Mathematical Association of America. All of their benefits are electronic. You get all of the various journals, and the best you get on a physical document is some discounts on the print subscription, right? Even though you're getting a copy of that in your email or through a PDF, you can't get the actual any physical thing on discount for free. You just get it as a discount. So if you have a lot, if you publish a lot of white papers, or you have a fairly prestigious journal, just having electronic members may be a good way to do it. This is actually the base membership of MAA is all electronic here. Another thing, they're very focused on very particular core, like this is targeted to their audience who's not going to enter the MAA headquarters. They're going to be in institutions and we'll be reading this to see what the field's like. So here's the next one. So this is the Mfa Boston. This is a classic multi-tier structure. You can see right at the top, to cut down on space, they've actually just indicated what everyone gets, regardless of how much you give. And then their membership starts at 75, right? That's the number they've indicated is the baseline. There are a couple things I want to point out. 75 isn't a hard limit, right? You can give more than 75. It's starting at 75 to be a supporter. They also indicate how much is tax deductible, or not tax deductible rather, clearly, and then they tell you the specifics of what you get as that member. And they also communicate kind of what the membership is geared towards, right? Our entry-level members enrich our growing community. And the next one is great for couples and families. And it's $115, $22 is not tax deductible. Down here at the ambassador level, at $275, one of these things that you can do to strengthen, membership benefit that you can do to strengthen if you have something to access, if you have land or a facility, pulling together with other organizations and creating this reciprocal admission benefit is a really strong multiplier for everyone involved, right? Most people may not use it, but it's still a kind of a nice thing to have. You can see these categories go fairly high, but they're not limited, right? You can still give well above $1,750 to become a leader member. And then here at the bottom, so the Patron Program is their major gift program, right? Starting at $3,000, they point out what the how much more elite patrons are, dedicated enthusiasts who want to make an impact on the MFA present and future. The other thing I want to call attention to is the museum council membership. So I met some development staff from MFA. Museum council is a young major donor program. It's targeted towards people in their 20s and 30s and 40s, and it starts at $300. It's focused a lot on events, and it's meant to bring them into the museum as much as possible. And it's very customized to that specific group. There's other ways to customize your membership. So this is the Whitney Museum of American Art. I think this used to be more, I found a lot of art. I was looking up because it's one of the most cited membership programs for customized membership. It seems to have been scaled back considerably. So I wonder if they hit capacity problems there. In this case, their membership can customize their event and email preferences by opting into one of 5 thematic series, right? They list what those are: social, insider, learning, family, or philanthropy. And that just changes, what lectures they get invited to, and what emails they're going to get. And then the last one I want to talk about, or the second to last one, penultimate, is institutional. So if you have if you're more targeted towards a specific group, it may benefit you to structure your program around those institutions and encourage them to give through that. So here's the PhD program for joining the American Historical Association. It's got an annual fee for people above 21 faculty members. It's got a slightly smaller fee for people below 20. Tells you all the benefits, which are very similar to the Mathematical Association, in that you get a number of publications and then lots of discounts. All right, so I'm going to stop the share on that. Why don't we go back to the
okay. No.
So the I really strongly encourage you not to get stuck in the box. if there's a particular group that you want to be members, say you're the Sustainable Fishing Organization, you may want fishermen to be part of your group because they're the constituency that's most impacted. You might go to an association meeting for their union, their field, and offer like a special discount, like $1 membership, just because you want that specific constituency in your group. Don't get stuck in this idea that whatever your membership model is, whatever the numbers you put down are the exclusive way that you can organize it. And then open membership is this group, right? This organization is an open membership. Anyone can become a member. So that is a little bit, there is a difference between donors and members in that particular case, because you may not be a donor and also be a member, right?
Alex, we're getting a couple good questions. I just want to draw attention. Some people are asking, what does it mean to be a donor, and are you going to ask them for contributions in addition to their membership? And I'll just mention from my experience, the organization that I worked with, every donor was a member, and once you'd given in a year, you were a member that year. But we continued to solicit gifts, additional gifts, your additional member contribution to support various seasonal needs, from legislative season to maybe it might be beach issues in the summer, upland issues in the fall, and try to keep an annual cycle going. I think somebody said that they used membership as a structure to structure their communication to the constituency. And I think that's very much a really good idea. And it's the way that I've experienced membership. As a way to organize your thinking about communicating to your community.
Can you get on to the next slide?
Yep.
Oh.
It's right.
All right, you missed my good intro. All right. Everything in development is about retention. Membership, when it's really firing, is a very strong tool to keep retention. Will you move on to the next slide? One problem you're going to encounter is renewal, right? This is the point at which you're probably going to lose members. It's also your biggest chance to keep members around as well. What you do for your renewal policies matter. Whenever you can, I would encourage you to get auto renewal going. I've seen it, so they fill out whatever their credit card is. They can set up a EFT at their bank. It just keeps it running year in, year out. You're still gonna actually tell them probably a month before when you begin sending out your renewal that they're giving as a member, and you're probably going to ask them to upgrade as well at that point, right? You're going to remind them that this charge is coming, because for many people it's been 12 months out from their last gift. They maybe don't remember that they are a member of your organization. What we see with auto renewal is that you get fairly high numbers, above 60%, right? Which is great. It's 20 points higher than the national average in terms of donor retention. And most of the drop off tends to be just from credit cards expiring. So it's nothing to do with your organization. It's just that their particulars changed. So this came up a lot in the intro, annual versus rolling. So this is a choice. Annual is easier for you. It's got less overhead. You have very specific times at which you can send out a whole blanket of letters. You know when it's coming. The donor knows when it comes. it tends to be less respectful of the member need, right? They're not, if someone pays in April or worse after July, they're getting a lot less than somebody who renewed back in December. You also have to think about what your policy for December is, because if someone gives on, say, the 25th about a membership for their friend, are they going to get billed on January 1st, right? Which will feel like being double charged. So that's always something to keep in mind, how you're going to manage that. Rolling is a lot harder to maintain. It's a much bigger drag on capacity because you need a dedicated membership manager who's going to be sending out renewal messages and grace period renewal messages as well, pretty much every day, depending on how large your membership is, and tracking that and seeing that as a regular way to keep membership focused and engaged. The last, I would recommend that you begin renewal early, so a month out, 2 months out, and mail fairly regularly in that period. One thing to go back to that question of, I just saw a question about Little Green Light, and I love Little Green Light, so I'm going to answer it myself. Yes, you can, if you use their forms, you should be able to turn that on, auto renewal. Grace period, probably, I would say out 3 months. And that treats them as a continuing member. If you think about membership, you want to maintain longevity wherever possible. So if you can create a space for them to still be considered a continuing member, 3 months is a good period before it's fairly clear that they're not reading your mail. This is also the moment at which you can upgrade, right? This is your best chance before the next charge is going to come on their credit card, before you're going to send the next letter, asking them to give a little more, or move up a tier. Again, remember, they're not stuck at whatever the low threshold for each tier is. They can give more, and you should encourage them to do that as well at that point. I think we can go on to the next slide, which I think is questions.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So what have we got down in the chat?
Yeah, so I think some people.
Anyone can jump in as well.
Yeah, I think a few people practice the, once a year membership plus additional contributions for special purposes. Becky mentions a legal appeal and so forth. So I think that is sort of one approach to the, multiple appeals.
One thing we know about direct mail is that unless you're mailing above 8 mailing solicitations a year, you probably are not annoying your members yet. That tends to not be what most people are doing, right? You're sending maybe 4 one page.
Actually, can I follow on that, Alex? Because I have a question to everybody around that. Is
Sure.
How many requests does it take to renew the majority of your members or donors? If folks want to put that in the chat. And is that something right?
Well, I mean, I think for us, the issue is that we send out a membership renewal once a year. We're too small of an organization to be able to manage a rolling membership. So we send out a membership renewal request once a year, early in the year, and then a month later, we send up like a follow-up, please renew your membership. And then 2 or more other times during the year, we send just a solicitation letter. But the problem that we are facing, and I think it's true with a number, what I'm seeing in the chat with a number of others, is that in addition to those people who respond to our membership renewal and think they are members, we have a number of other people who make donations, but they didn't respond to a membership renewal letter. They maybe don't think of themselves as members, and we're having a hard time figuring out, like, do we then now need to be addressing these 2 populations of donors differently all the time, which is, again, because we're a small organization, hard for us. So we do what someone else mentioned here. We just kind of consider everybody a member.
No,
But
I'd
it's not
say-
a perfect solution either. That causes its own issues and problems. So we just don't know what to do with these 2 types of donors that we can't afford to really target that separately and specifically.
You can only do what you can do, and especially in a small shop, you need to ration your time and not make things unnecessarily complicated. And so I think you've got a good solution there for your size organization.
Another thing I would say to look into is really, one, to track, what your percentage renewals are at each level. And also, are people responding to different things, right? So membership is kind of this general operating support request, whereas your donation request may be for very specific things. And we know specific things are more attractive to people to give to than this general operating support, unless they're really, dedicated and loyal. So use the tech, if it's a fundraising purely, use the technique that people respond to.
And one thing I will say, membership does create a formal understanding of what your relationship to the organization is, right? You're becoming a member of the organization. I think someone's got their phone on. So, think about how you want to define that relationship as you're developing your membership program. We got a question here. Do you recommend giving something specific? I did want to talk about premiums. So again, to capacity, and I've managed having premiums myself. Whatever you can do to ensure that your development staff do not become stock managers is a good idea. I also find premiums are better received unexpectedly and not at the time a gift is made, right? One thing, they can deduct more of their gift, but another thing, it tends to be more meaningful. Here, I've got an actual prop for this. So this is a Zipcar mug. It was waiting for me when I got into my Zipcar one day. And it had a candy cane in it because it was about Christmas, and a handwritten note on the dash for me. Now that's a for-profit company. It was, whoever drove the car back to the parking space after maintenance put it in there for me. But it was a fairly powerful way. I don't use Zipcar much. In fact, I'm about to move to a place that will not have it, and I will need to cancel my membership. But I've kept it a fair, even through a pandemic, because of that emotional response, right? When I worked at a college, the alumni director, we'd get in alumni notifications for the magazine, just announcements to put in. Whenever a new baby was announced, the alumni director would go to the stock, grab a sippy cup that was branded with the organization on it, and mail that out, right? They weren't expecting it, and alumni who were new parents, this was always something that connected with them. Whenever you can, and I'm sure lots of people here probably have a story similar to that. Whenever you can, think about how you're deploying your premiums. Do people need a tote bag every year, or can you figure out a way to use that tote bag in a way that it will support and reinforce your connection with a member.
You know, I think another point is people get hung up on membership levels and benefits, and the premiums are part of the benefit structure. And it becomes very transactional. You know, if you think in those terms, for $50, you get X, for $75, you get Y. Then the member is thinking of it transactionally too. And you really want to build a relationship. You want them to be with you at whatever level they feel like part of your community. They're a member because they support your watershed or your outdoor spaces or the wildlife that you protect. And not because they got a mug with an animal on it, you know.
And I think we might have skipped a slide, but one thing also is to talk about your benefits and think about your benefits, maybe less as what it is and more what it will do. So the outcome. So rather than talking about networking as a benefit, talk about the ability to connect with other people in this community, right? Making and strengthening connections with other people in the community of, you know, whatever the organization is. If you're a land trust, that particular community. So, and that should help you, I think, as you're thinking about what benefits do we provide, to get beyond a little bit of the actual what physical thing do we get and give out, and encourage you to think about what you're doing. And some of those outcomes are not necessarily things that will directly benefit the member tomorrow, right? Or that they will be able to use tomorrow. Some of them will be a lot more intangible than that. You can talk about those, and you should talk about those.
Alex, some folks would like to see each other. They want to stop the screen share. I'll just move to just show them quickly that we'll send out this resource list to Warren, and I guess she'll forward it on to folks. But I'll stop the share now. Hi, everybody.
All right, so Lauren says she's got to run to a meeting. Wonders if other people would like to continue the conversation.
Yeah, we're here if you want to ask us questions.
Do you have any advice about what really works? Like, our membership has really been taking a little bit of a dive during COVID, and I'm not really sure. We haven't gotten any feedback from members that say what the reason is. And so we're not really sure how to approach it. And we're going into our new, we do a quarterly membership renewal. So if it's almost like a rolling renewal. So I'm wondering, as we go into this first quarter membership appeal, what is there a way that we can engage these members to find out, you know, what it is that they are looking for or didn't find, or maybe COVID just hit them too hard and they just couldn't afford to renew, or what's the story? How can we begin that conversation and then, you know, see if there's something that we can change or not?
One way would be to survey the lapsed members, right? Is to go and say, why, what happened? And again, you know, you could send that, it's certainly SurveyMonkey, if you can get responses, would be a great way to do that. Calling would be a much better way and probably generate you some renewals at the time. Some people just forget, right? There's also that, that you just lose people because you lose people, and it's not necessarily anything you can control.
Yeah, I just wanted to add Audubon here in Rhode Island. They do this for their longtime members who become lapsed, is that they just thank them and give them a complimentary membership for their years of service, and don't worry about their giving that year. And so there might be, if you think you're experiencing some financial hardship this year, it might be worth testing with donors who have been with you for a few years, like giving them a buy. And actually what happens with Audubon is most of those people come back. Like, and many of them actually give more money than they had if they hadn't gotten that buy. So you might want to test that with a segment and see what a reaction is.
And we mentioned little green light earlier. Do you want to tell us what you love? Because I saw you light up when you saw little green light.
Yeah, so I used Razor's Edge for years in a college, and then I used eTapestry. I like Little Green Light because it does a lot of what Razor's Edge does in terms of being able to query and stack queries inside of each other so that you can slice and dice your database in quite a few different ways. But it's priced a hell of a lot cheaper. And the increments, it doubles the capacity of your database for $10 a month each time. So it's a fairly, you increase the price of it at a standard rate, and then you grow those size of your database exponentially. I have not necessarily seen how it runs with an organization with 10,000 donors or a development staff of 15. I would be interested to see that. But I think for small organizations with a development manager who's savvy with the database, it would be a powerful budget tool is what I would say. I do a lot of database work. So yeah, I have my little biases built in. Any other questions?
I have one other quick one. As an environmental organization, when we send out mailers, our members say that they'd rather see less paper, but we've tried to get them to renew online and they've been resistant. So how many mailers is the right amount of mailers? How much paper are people really willing to?
Yeah, so it's a real challenge, right? Because it's an actual disconnect, and this is a common disconnect, is people say they want shorter letters, but shorter letters are less effective at fundraising. They want fewer letters, but fewer letters are less effective at fundraising. What donors perceive as the best way to solicit them for money is not necessarily the best way to solicit them for money, at least through direct mail.
What are other folks doing?
I would say if you have like 3 or 4 people that have really specifically requested, I have a few people that are like email only. And so I will make them their own PDF, and I will send the PDF appeal when I'm sending, 150 printed copies to 150 other people. But I would say from the experts I listen to, do not stop sending paper. You have to do direct mail, and like Alex said, if you're doing anything less than 8 times a year, you're not bothering people. So, 3 to 4 times a year is absolutely totally fine, and probably less than what the experts would tell you to do if you could do more.
There might be an incentive there to get them on an automatic payment schedule. And say, yeah, that would be great. If you'll go on automatic payment, we'll take your, reduce the mailing or cut it off, or email only or whatever.
And the other part of it is to soften it as much as you can by putting your money where your mouth is in terms of sustainability, making sure you have the recycled paper, making sure that on the envelope, on the letterhead, they see that little indicia with the tree and the cloud, and that they know you're focused on it. I worked at a college where we were all really environmentally minded, and that was a key factor, right? Is that they could see as much as possible how sustainable the paper was. The development manager, the direct mail manager, had worked at for a logging company association for paper. They did not want that. They wanted pure white paper as much as possible. So even what you use in terms of supplies is a part of a solicitation tool.
So I'm just curious to ask Alexander or anybody on the call about this auto renewal. Do you all give your constituency the option of picking that on an annual basis, or do you implement it automatically and see what the reaction is? I'm kind of curious to know how that works.
So I would encourage, like, if it's online, I would encourage to have it already checked off, and allow them to uncheck it, right? So encourage and make it very obvious, right at the top of the page. Say, you know, would you like to set to auto renewal? And have that box checked already, right there. You should probably see that more people will start to uptake that. For mail, I would stress the benefits of auto renewing. You know, there are benefits to the donor. Peace of mind for your organization's health. You know, peace of mind that they're giving every year, then they won't be bothered necessarily to, you know, we all forget things. So now they've got a backstop for their own memory. Yeah, does anyone who uses auto renew want to jump in here? Anyone left for who used auto renew?
We have an auto renew option, and even in our last few mailings, member renewal mailings, we've included a checkbox for people to include their credit card number and click and show auto renew. And we've gotten very little response from that, almost non-existent response. And online we have auto renewal as an option. It's not pre-checked though.
There's an idea. I would another thing to think about would be to send a specific mailing asking people to sign up for auto renew, right? So that's the only thing they can do in that response. If they want to put $20 back in the envelope and send it to you, fine. But you know, that the only reply device would be designed to generate auto renew. So you can have a special appeal to and you know, I would start with longtime donors.
You can combine this with their preference for less paper, you know, and just say, this is a way to help us be more green here.
I know for us at the foundation, before my time, they wrapped, you know, an emphasis on like monthly or yearly auto renewal payments around an appeal where they were like, so the people that were giving $100 a year, they said, you can end up helping us out and giving us a little bit more and making us that much more impactful with 120 if you, and it's only $10 a month. So then we had a bunch of people giving us $10 a month, and it just continues until inevitably their credit card expires and I have to call them, and that's the whole thing. But it's it was successful as an appeal saying you can help us that much more, and it's just $10 a month. So a bunch of people went to monthly because it was a small amount. So I suggest testing that out because it seemed to work for us.
Monthly is a great multiplier, right? We think about $120, or we think about $100 is a heck of a lot to give, but $10 a month seems reasonable, even though it's $20 more. Yeah, you can definitely set up, if you have that to set up, you know, databases can manage a lot of this and take a lot of the strain off of it, but you need the right database to manage it and make sure that it's happening automatically, and you know, you have to do as little as possible in terms of cleaning it up every month, right? Anyone else? Any last questions?
Helpful, thank you.
Well, some great ideas. Thanks for sharing in the comments in the chat.
Yeah, so we're going to send the presentation to Lauren, who will pass it on to all of you. I was unable to record. I'm sorry, Lauren. So I hope your organization doesn't delete it. You can send it to me right now. I'll hold on to it. And we have our contact information there. If you have any questions or follow up you'd like, you can shoot us an email or give us a call. Been great talking to you all. Stay safe in the snow. Enjoy your weekend.
Appreciate it so much.
Thank
you, Alexander, Gayle, and Tom.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren, for hosting.